Our tale starts with the colossal world tree, the majestic pillar anchoring this entire realm. Diverse races coexist in unity across Huguenot, a sprawling continent overflowing with vibrant life and ancient secrets. Peace is a luxury, as a brutal war between humanity and demons ravages the land, escalating into a bloodbath. Lately, humans faced total despair, their blades barely scratched the demons. But finally, destiny was about to shift. Amidst the carnage, a beacon of hope ignited the battlefield, unleashing long-forgotten primordial sorcery upon the world. With this god-tier power, they decimated the monster legions effortlessly. These elite warriors charged through the slaughter, restoring faith to mankind. Their legendary feats earned them a title whispered in awe across the nations. They were the Grimoire smiths, master forgers of mystic tomes, and the ultimate saviors of humanity. Fast forward to the present, a fortress wall is under siege as soldiers desperately fire their thunderous cannons. A massive blast rocks the front lines. A commander screams for the archers to stop the beast's ascent. A fire-tipped arrow pierces a monster's eye, yet the beast keeps moving, head skewered but still thirsting for blood. Grinning wickedly, another demon looms over a terrified guard. Paralyzed by the sheer malice, the soldier begins to snap. He shrieks in pure agony as a tide of frenzied monsters begins to swarm over the battlements. Razor-sharp claws hook onto the ledge, leaving a nearby soldier frozen in a state of absolute shock. The grotesque beast hauls itself up, revealing a nightmare form. The guard stands petrified, unable to even breathe. Death is certain until a mysterious hooded figure steps forward, clutching an ancient glowing book. He invokes Grand Reflection. A blinding pillar of light erupts, shielding the man and striking the monsters head-on. The impact blasts them off the wall. The stranger calmly tells the guard to rest. The danger has passed. Suddenly, two more elites join the fray. They apologize for the delay while checking on the wounded survivors. They commend the soldiers' bravery. Overwhelmed, one guard admits his hands won't stop trembling from the adrenaline. Their stoic leader scans the chaos. Beside him stand El, a lethal elf, and the battle-hardened swordsman Raz. Raz signals the charge, while the mage gathers mana. El draws a single arrow, preparing a deadly strike. He infuses the shaft with gale force magic, the arrowhead pulsing with a vibrant emerald radiance. Locking his sights on the carnage below, the archer breathes slowly, ready to let fly a lethal volley. Total focus, El fires and his lone arrow splits into a dozen shards, skewering multiple beasts simultaneously. Nearby, the mage's rings flare with raw energy. He steps right to the edge, commanding the battlefield. Unlocking his grimoire, he conjures a violent cyclone that vacuums the monsters into the sky like ragdolls. El is panting heavily, his mana nearly drained. But his allies aren't done. The warrior's blade begins to burn. Their leader launches himself skyward, hovering above the chaos as he preps a finishing move. He strikes a jewel on his grimoire, igniting its core. The tome erupts in a surge of violet light. Lightning crackles as a second gem flashes with blinding gold. The transformation is just beginning. Swirling violet and gold mana fuse into a lethal cocktail. The white-haired youth stands at the center. He manifests a massive orb of destruction overhead, then hurls it toward the heavens like a divine lance. The orb shatters the clouds, rippling outward in a colossal shockwave. He reaches out, anchoring the spell's fury. Harnessing the heavens, he invokes Rain of Karavnos, the ultimate fusion of storm and lightning. Eyes blazing purple, he focuses his intent to release a world-ending torrent of power. A downpour of violet bolts incinerates every monster below. His allies watch slack-jawed at the overwhelming spectacle. It's terrifyingly beautiful. Seeing the carnage finished, the hooded youth snaps his grimoire shut, fully content. He descends the ramparts with chill vibes, acting as if he didn't just delete an entire army. The threat is erased. The soldiers are stunned, they couldn't even dent those beasts, yet he nuked them. One shot. One total wipeout. As the dust settles, a mysterious magic circle begins to manifest overhead. A guard stares at the mage, the gears in his head finally turning as reality sets in. That distinctive white hair. That specific mana signature. Everything starts to look hauntingly familiar to him. He remembers the legend, the White Wolf Grimoire Smith. Suddenly, a shout from the towers breaks his trance. The kingdom's reinforcements have finally arrived. Seeing the job is done, the mage decides to vanish. Leaving the mop up to the reinforcements, he shoves a cryptic document into the baffled soldier's hand before vanishing. The youth demands passage to continue their quest, leaving the gatekeeper absolutely clueless and stuttering. Staring at the strange permit, the guard freezes as the leader drops a bombshell. Their destination is the Dragon Kingdom. With a sharp snap, a luminous orb soars upward, detonating against the clouds in a spectacular pyrotechnic display. The sky ignites, paving their way. With the dawn at their backs, the trio embarks on a legendary new journey. The elf collapses in despair, questioning if their mythical prize, the magic stone, is even real or just a fairy tale. His comrade scoffs at the idea of an easy find, but Raz vows to trail Master Alan to the ends of the earth. Through hell or high water, he's in. The elf whines about his friend's intensity while Alan glances back at the chaos. As the blonde desperately pleads for them to wait, the elf latches onto the swordsman like a parasite, driving him insane. "Get off me," he barks, a faint chuckle escaping his lips while their leader observes the chaotic brotherly bond. A subtle smirk plays on Alan's face before he calls El and Raz to order it's time to move out. Eyes blazing with resolve, the mage commands them forward. The road is long, and the stakes are higher than ever. Their ultimate destination, the very cradle where the entire world first drew breath. And so the trio ventures into the unknown, hunting the primal mana stone to fulfill their grand destiny. Legend says that among common jewels' hidden rarities exist ancient vessels housing forgotten primordial forces. Arcane power pulsates within these magic stones. Suddenly the light fades into the opulence of a royal ballroom. While nobles revel in luxury above, a dark secret rots below. Slaves are driven to the bone, polishing endless gems. Suffocating in filth, the tolling of a heavy bell finally signals the end of another grueling shift in the pits. A boy with striking monochrome hair sighs, done for today only, for a guard to snatch his work with a snarl. "Is this a joke?" the man barks, tossing the dull stone aside. "Junk like this won't fill our coffers." Smirking, the supervisor flaunts a dazzling radiant jewel. "If you're going to touch a stone, make it bleed brilliance. It needs to shine like this." In a flash, the boy lunges, reaching for the shimmering prize in the guard's grip. Shocked, the guard recoils, clutching the gem tight. But the boy doesn't back down, his voice steady and haunting. "I wasn't finished with that one," he mutters, before being slammed into the dirt. He glares up, eyes cold as ice. "You, again," the man sneers. Blood trickles from the boy's lip, but his piercing gaze never wavers from his tormentor. A strange glow ignites in his eyes, unnerving the guard. "You think you're special just because you have talent? A mere stone polisher shouldn't be so arrogant." He drives a heavy boot into the boy's ribs with pure malice. The boy collapses, gasping for air. "Time for a lesson," the supervisor growls, fist tightening around the boy's hair. "Since you love stones so much, polish them all." The boy just smiles cryptically. "Then let's see how many I get." The guards unleash a brutal assault, showing zero mercy as a heavy fist connects squarely with the boy's jaw. He doesn't flinch. Satisfied with their cruelty, the guards dump his limp body and bark at the others to clear out. Battered and bruised, the boy crawls toward his tormentors, his sheer willpower leaving them stunned. Grabbing the guard's boot, he whispers hoarsely, "That was only 3. You're falling behind." The man freezes in confusion. "3 more, the boy demands, eyes swirling with an eerie pink light as he reminds the guard of their dark pact. Panic strikes the guard. "Get off me, freak," he screams, but the boy clings like a shadow, refusing to let go. He begs for more pain. "Have you lost your mind?" the guard roars, losing his cool and resuming the brutal beating. The blows rain down harder than before, but the boy's soul is unbreakable. "Is that all you've got?" he yells back. An elderly slave watches in silent horror as the guard tosses the mangled boy into the abyss of a pitch-black cell. The cell is freezing. Bloodied and broken, he slumps beside another dying soul as a sliver of dawn pierces the gloom. The faint light reveals his scars. Waking up, he winces, realizing he let his obsession go a bit too far this time. A faint smile touches his lips as he recalls the vibrant gems he's touched: crimson fire and golden suns. But that sky-blue stone, it felt different, heavier, more powerful. Clenched in his fist, it hummed with life. He gazes at its beauty, yearning for more. If only they'd let him polish them in peace, he could unlock every secret. Suddenly, 2 eyes burn through the shadows. A guard kicks the bars, screaming for the trash to get back to work. The shift has begun. The old man hobbles over, whispering a single question: "Can you even stand, kid?" The youth nods, and the elder gently pulls him to his feet. Nearby, the other captives trade confused glances at the old man's sudden kindness. He realized that during their climb, no one had uttered a single word to the kid, not since the day he first arrived in this hellhole. Returning to the grinding wheels, the elder settles beside him without a word. "Do you need something?" the boy finally asks, breaking the tension. "Just a small favor," the old man whispers. Suddenly, the overseer looms over them, barking orders to polish every gem to perfection or face the consequences. The boy nods silently. Unappeased, the guard sneers, promising a brutal lashing if he catches those eyes fluttering shut for even a second. Tuning out the hostility, the youth locks his gaze on the fragment in his palm, a mysterious deep violet shard that seems to pulse. He traces the hints of crimson bleeding into the purple. A faint grin touches his lips, his heart racing to see its final, radiant form. Once the gem glimmers, the elder asks why he'd risk provoking the guards. "I was just trying to stay focused," the boy shrugs simply. The old man presses him, baffled by his reckless calm. Confused, the youth finally turns, asking exactly what the old man is digging for. He claims it's no big deal. He just genuinely loves the craft. Polishing stones is the only thing that brings him peace. He admits his past was a colorless void, an orphan scavenging through filth, where beauty was a luxury he couldn't afford. Survival was his only instinct, leaving his soul hollow. He knows this forced labor is a literal hell on earth for any human. Yet amidst the misery, these mesmerizing gems are his only escape. The old man watches him, his gaze heavy with realization. Wearing a look of pure disbelief, the elder asks if he really endured those scars and sleepless nights for mere rocks. Just for these, irritated, the boy snaps at him to back off. His passions aren't up for debate by some random stranger. He's simply captivated by the hidden elegance of these tiny treasures. Intrigued, the old man lifts a jagged, unpolished shard from the pile. Is this scrap beautiful too? The elder tests. The boy's eyes ignite. The more you grind, the brighter its inner soul glows. Stunned, the elder confesses that the soft luminescence of the stones actually eases his troubled mind. He's floored. How can a mere boy see that? The youth doesn't get the big deal, but the old man's mind begins racing. Fingering his beard, he mutters that it all makes sense now. His gaze shifts, turning sharp and calculating. He realizes the kid is a diamond in the rough. That beauty the boy sees, it's actually traces of a primordial ancient magic. These aren't just jewels, they're magic stones conduits for raw, terrifying power trapped within their crystalline cores. Combined with a grimoire, they're lethal. But the scraps they're forced to polish here, they're nothing but bottom-tier trash. Just the cheapest debris available. The boy's jaw drops. Are there even more stunning gems waiting out there in the world? Goosebumps erupt along the boy's arms as the elder confirms it. A whole universe of powerful stones exists beyond these walls. Stones infused with the fury of fire, the grace of wind, or the depth of water. The variety is endless. Magic beyond his wildest dreams eclipsing these pebbles. Finally, the boy begins to grasp the scale of this world. The realization hits him. The world is brimming with these artifacts. Are there truly thousands more than what's in this dump? Eagerly, the youth begs for more info. Where are they? How do I find them? His voice filled with newfound hunger. First, you've got to escape this prison, the elder replies. The very idea of freedom leaves the boy absolutely stunned. Chaos erupts as the old man is violently shoved to the floor. His stone clatters away while the boy rushes to his side. Who's plotting an escape? A chilling voice demands. A figure draped in silk emerges, clutching a magnificent glowing grimoire. The tome radiates pure, opulent authority. Its power is palpable, leaving the boy completely paralyzed in its terrifying shadow. Flanked by armored guards, the noble sneers at the captives. Where exactly do you think you're going, trash? Emerald eyes burn with lethal contempt as he stares them down. The youth can't even move, locked in a cold sweat. The noble scoffs, amused by the boy's confusion. He hadn't expected these rats to still possess any spark of hope. So you still have the guts to dream, the man mocks. Glaring with pure venom, the elder spits out the man's name. Malik, he growls. You have some nerve showing your face here. The aristocrat simply stares back with cold indifference. A wicked smirk plays on Malik's lips. When the boy asks if they're acquainted, the elder's grim nod says everything. With a heavy heart, the old man declares that Malik has abandoned the mage's code. He is nothing but a traitor. Malik feigns a wounded heart, laughing that they were brothers in arms for over 30 long years. The irony is sickening. The elder's knuckles turn white. A sudden vision of the past flickers. Two young, ambitious mages standing side by side. He had trusted him with his life. Memories of laughter and shared celebrations at grand banquets flood his mind. But the bond shattered 2 weeks ago. A young girl was taken Malik's pawn in a sick, calculated game. He traded her life for the grimoire and black market gems. As the master of grimoire mages, the elder will never forgive this. The noble's laughter echoes as he brands his old friend a hypocrite. The trap is finally set. His granddaughter is a pawn, now a price, for the old man's kindness. This frail elder, a genius of 10 ancient magics. They call him the coordinator of miracles, a living legend of the forbidden arcane arts. His grimoire erupts with blinding light, but the villain just sneers. Without this toy, you're just a pathetic fossil. Fury burns in Klaus's eyes. Keep your filthy paws off my legacy, he spits with pure venom. Malik parrots the threat with a sadistic grin. He's tried cracking the book's secrets, and failed miserably. High-tier ancient spells remain locked to him. Frustrated, the villain slams the priceless relic into the dirt. Worthless junk, he barks. Suddenly, the scattered jewels ignite. The young boy watches mesmerized by the dancing light. Prismatic rays flood the dungeon, reflecting in the boy's wide, sparkling eyes. His heart hammers against his ribs. He feels a pulse, a soul-deep resonance with these forbidden artifacts. A cosmic vision unfolds. The stones aren't just glowing, they're calling his name from the void. The realization hits him, the sage's true power doesn't live in these trinkets. Where does that godlike strength hide? It's not the book. Malik finally sees the truth behind his rival's legendary status. The power dwells within his eyes. Tell me your secrets, Klaus, the villain screams, losing his mind. He lunges, demanding to know how the old man senses the mana flow. Klaus fights back with everything left. With the boy's help, he shoves Malik back, but a guard's heavy strike blindsides him from behind. The boy's scream pierces the air as he's pinned down. Klaus falls, forced to his knees in defeat. Klaus glares at his betrayer with pure disdain. Even if I told you, a blind fool could never see it. Your greed has veiled your soul, the mage mocks. Malik's face twists into a mask of pure rage. He erupts, yanking Klaus by the hair. You arrogant hypocrite, look at you now. You're just broken trash, Malik hisses. I'll turn you into a lab rat until I've bled your power dry. He wants those eyes. He wants that throne. And he'll butcher anyone to claim Klaus's essence. The guard sees the grimoire. As Malik turns away, his heart turned to stone. He snatches a flickering candle from the wall, a sinister plan forming in his mind. With a flick of his wrist, he tosses the flame toward the artifacts. The boy watches in absolute horror. The candle arcs through the air, landing directly on the ancient magic book. Klaus's desperate cry fills the room. "What have you done, Malik?" just scoffs at the destruction. "If the book is hollow, it's firewood," he declares with a demonic smirk. "You're never escaping this hell." The guards restrain the screaming mage as the first embers take hold. The fire hungrily devours the pages and the magical stones. Chaos begins to spread through the cell. Suddenly, a rogue jewel zips toward the boy, hovering before him like a guiding star. His eyes snap open. He bolts toward the inferno, leaving a stunned Klaus calling after him. Without a second thought, the kid dives into the heart of the blaze. The room goes silent, in shock. Flesh sizzles, but he doesn't flinch. He has to save them. He must protect the light. He frantically gathers the glowing stones from the ash. "Save the book," Klaus bellows through the smoke. The boy kneels in the center of the hellfire, locked in a trance-like focus. A guard tries to stomp out the flames, barking at the brat to stand down immediately. Malik hauls him up, eyes burning with murderous intent. "What do you think you're doing, kid?" Through the choking smoke, the boy's hand clamps onto Malik's leg. "Back off," he growls, eyes like daggers. He shoves the soldier aside, lunging back into the heat. His hand reaches out for the prize. He aims for the burning grimoire, his face a mask of absolute unyielding determination. His bare hands close around the flaming cover. A smile touches his lips as he secures the artifact. Contact. A violent explosion of golden light shatters the darkness. The boy is swallowed whole. A massive pillar of celestial fire pierces the heavens. Klaus can only watch in disbelief. "Is it him?" the mage whispers. Inside the light, the boy feels his world shattering and remaking itself. Hellfire erupts within his veins, swirling like a blazing cyclone as his eyes ignite with a crimson glow. The world dissolves into a blinding radiance. An orb of pure power manifests, fueling him with godlike strength. Malik's jaw drops at the impossible sight. From the shadows, Klaus's granddaughter tracks every move with wide eyes. How could a mere slave ascend as a grimoire smith panic starts to bleed into the villain's expression? He screams at his lackeys, barking orders for a guard to seize the glowing tome from Malik's grip. A guard lunges for the prize, but the boy clutches the vibrating luminous grimoire with a death grip. A mystical bond snaps into place. Snapping the book open, he vows that Klaus will never touch this power. The antagonist unleashes a crushing water spell, but the newly awakened boy counters, channeling his grimoire's hidden energy. "Aqua Devil," he roars, summoning the tides. Not to be outdone, the villain twists the currents into a lethal strike. The noble's deluge surges forward to douse the boy's flames, but a sudden liquid wall rises to intercept it. The shield holds firm. Malik reels, stunned that a complete amateur could execute such a perfect defensive maneuver. A blinding flash detonates, searing everyone's vision. Through the whiteout, the boy gazes at the dancing inferno surrounding him. He feels the heat obey. With a sharp sweep of his arms, he commands the embers into a towering wall. The villain freezes his mind, racing to decode the mystery behind this boy's terrifying untapped potential. It is impossible. How can a rookie handle such complex magic the second he awakens his grimoire? Kneeling amidst the blaze, the boy's gaze shifts. Klaus realizes those eyes are reading the forgotten script of antiquity. This isn't just luck. The boy's resonance with this power is off the charts. Combined with those artifacts, he could unleash a god-tier calamity. The old man realizes he's looking at a once-in-a-century prodigy. Yet raw talent won't save a green rookie. He dreads that Malik's overwhelming power might still be too much. Things are spiraling fast. The villain hurls a tidal wave, crashing violently against the boy's defiant wall of fire. Klaus fights against the guard's iron grip, his desperate voice cracking as he screams for the boy to hold. Grit and sweat cover his face. A sudden, daring plan takes shape, the only way to flip the script. He needs to deliver the grimoire to Klaus now. Without hesitation, he sprints straight into the heart of danger. Blazing footsteps mark his path. Malik summons a monstrous swell, roaring that no one gets past his watery grave. Eyes burning with malice, the villain readies the finishing blow. The crushing tide rushes forward to end it. Timing is everything. Before the impact, the boy leaps into the air, gambling everything on a single, desperate toss. He hurls the tome toward Klaus with every ounce of strength. The grimoire soars through a chaotic storm of elements. Chaos erupts as the tidal wave swallows the battlefield, slamming into everyone with the force of a falling mountain. The boy's cry is cut short as he's blasted backward. Magic stones scatter like glass shards in the wreckage. Mid-fall, Klaus snatches the jewels from the air. Suddenly, a massive detonation of steam and light consumes the room. Malik watches the carnage unfold. The shockwave tosses the boy like a rag doll, smashing him into the cold stone. Broken and drained, he collapses into the dirt. With his final breath, he wheezes out Malik's name in defiance. Burning with righteous fury, Klaus grips the grimoire and begins slamming the stones into their ancient slots. "Your little game ends here, Malik," he growls. The villain just smirks, completely unfazed by the old man's resolve. With chilling composure, he mocks the mage, asking if he truly believed a fossil could ever defeat him. Guards drag in 3 traumatized kids, their heads marred by jagged scars, and their bodies draped in tattered rags. Malik presents his new recruits, their eyes glazed over in a soulless trance. Klaus stares in absolute horror. Are these the missing children? The boy's eyes narrow as he spots a sinister black mass on a shoulder. Is that corrupted mana? The villain gestures to the mark, mocking their confusion with a wicked knowing grin. He presses the dark gem, boasting it was engineered specifically to be Klaus's ultimate downfall. In a blur, he brutally tears the gem from the kid's flesh. As the child collapses, a guard heartlessly kicks the limp body. The small, broken frame of the child remains motionless on the cold floor, discarded like trash after the assault. Nausea hits the boy and Klaus as the sheer cruelty sinks in. Even the guards tremble at such savagery. One guard mutters in disgust at the monster. Klaus demands to know if he's really stooped to human experimentation. The test subjects lie lifeless. The boy struggles to grasp the horrific meaning of experimentation while the villain scoffs. All he craved was raw power. Those brats were just disposable trash to him. Pure rage ignited within the boy. Hearing the noble's chilling cruelty, Malik loomed over a victim, claiming this was all for his twisted research. He grinned, declaring it a supreme honor to serve as fuel for such a glorious study. Klaus roared the traitor's name in fury as Malik smirked. Suddenly, a sinister crimson aura bled from Malik's skin. Reacting instantly, Klaus conjured a blazing firewall to shield himself and the other captives. Grasping his grimoire, he unleashed a firestorm against Malik's assault. The boy watched, absolutely mesmerized. That's real magic, he gasped, but Malik's dark arts were overwhelming, slowly devouring Klaus's righteous flames. The mage buckled under the crushing pressure, fighting to hold his shield. Malik just sneered, mocking his struggle. He'd long envisioned this total humiliation. Now he vowed to drain every drop of their blood for his sick experiments. The boy realized they were cooked if things didn't change. Desperate, he struggled to find his footing amidst the chaos. Amidst the dungeon's carnage, his eyes fell upon a single mana stone he'd salvaged from the wreckage. Could he trigger that power again, he wondered. Suddenly, Klaus's voice resonated deep within his subconscious. Recall that sensation, it urged. He knew a luminous sigil would manifest if he could just focus. Refusing to remain a lab rat, he centered his resolve and gripped the stone until his knuckles turned white. With a defiant roar, he vowed to see every stone. He craved the truth behind every gem in existence. Beyond these walls, a world waited. Eyes blazing violet, he funneled his entire being into the shard. A primal scream ripped from his throat as violet and red energy detonated, wrapping him in a dark shroud. Malik and Klaus stood frozen in disbelief. The sheer magnitude of the boy's power left the veteran mages utterly speechless. Both mages were swallowed by the expanding shadow. The boy's gaze was now a mask of absolute, unadulterated hatred. He commanded this hellhole and the villain to reduce to ash, thrusting the stone forward with lethal intent. He detonated his mana. A shockwave tore through the dungeon, sending guards flying like ragdolls into the darkness. Malik reeled ancient magic without a grimoire impossible. Spitting blood, the villain's disbelief twisted into a murderous rage. That power belonged to him. Burned to nothing, the boy hissed, unleashing an even more devastating torrent of energy. His eyes radiated pure intensity as the stone pulsed with a sinister crimson light. The jewel hummed with godlike power. Saturated with arcane energy, the twin auras of flame and shadow surged, consuming every inch of the damp dungeon. The crude stone morphed into a flawless ruby. Klaus gasped, realizing the boy was forcing the mana stones into a berserk state. The villain shrieked in agony, desperately clawing at the chaotic dark power that began to devour his very soul. Jamming a void-black jewel into his grimoire, he attempted to force amplify his dwindling magical reserves. The shadows liquefied, snaking toward the boy like venom. "You're just a pathetic, insignificant brat," Malik screamed. He launched his final strike. Malik's dark wave slammed into the boy's fire shield, igniting a brutal tug-of-war. The opposing forces detonated, rocking the foundation. The noble snarled, refusing to be bested by some lowlife's sudden awakening. Shadows and flames waltzed across the ruins in a blinding, chaotic spectacle of raw, arcane destruction. The boy focused, bracing his barrier against the onslaught. A confident, icy smirk played across his lips. He met the villain's gaze with zero fear. Malik's guards stood paralyzed uselessly, watching the world end around them. "Do something, you idiots," Malik shrieked. Nearby, Klaus's granddaughter watched the nightmare unfold in terror. The guards formed a tight circle around the girl. The boy's mind raced. He needed a winning strategy and fast. "We're being boxed in a guard," panicked eyeing the exit. Another henchman urged that they had to fall back immediately. They had to evacuate the captives. But first, the guard realized they had to neutralize the boy's explosive power. The boy shouted to the old mage, pleading with him to safeguard the survivors huddling behind their lines. Klaus nodded, moving to shield the remaining prisoners. He glanced back at the captives, who were paralyzed by dread. They cowered in the dungeon's darkest corners. Meanwhile, the duel between boy and villain escalated into a full-blown war. Guards lunged but were scorched back by his flames. Suddenly, with a metallic snap, his shackles finally shattered. Now unchained, he was unstoppable. A guard took a direct fire blast to the chest, screaming as the heat consumed him. Malik lost it. He wouldn't be humiliated by some brat with a broken chain and a death wish. Finally free, the boy claimed the battlefield. The two stared each other down, hatred burning brighter than the magic itself. Klaus hauls the terrified youngsters up, screaming at them to flee, while parting the raging inferno like a god. As the captives scramble for life, Klaus's granddaughter stands frozen, while the tyrant unleashes a devastating magical blast. The man's blade clashes against the kid's sorcery but shatters. In a flash, the boy counters with a searing wave of fire. The villain scrambles behind his mana shields, but with steel in his eyes, the young warrior pours every soul-shattering ounce into his strike. Quickly, the granddaughter weaves a defensive array around the guards. Malik's face twists in a fury of pure, unadulterated hate. "I won't lose to trash," he roars. Meanwhile, she slams her palm down, reinforcing the barrier with an ancient high-tier protection spell. The boy's raw power shatters the shield into a million glittering shards, leaving the entire room breathless. Malik's own cursed gems turn against him, shredding his defenses, as he lets out one final blood-curdling scream of pure agony. Darkness and hellfire swallow the man whole. Around the boy, black flames dance like hungry spirits serving their new master. He stares coldly at his broken foe. Yet the villain staggers back up, eyes burning with spite for the brat who ruined everything. Grasping the very shadows poisoning his blood, he prepares one last desperate strike, fueled by a mountain of bitter resentment. "Die, you brat," he bellows, hurling a crushing void. Suddenly, a sphere of pure abyssal magic encases the young warrior completely. Horrified, the granddaughter watches as the pitch-black orb seals shut, offering zero hope of escape for the trapped boy. A twisted grin spreads across the villain's face, savoring his supposed victory. Until the absolute impossible starts to happen. Hairline fractures spiderweb across the sphere. Suddenly, the man is sent flying backward by a massive shockwave of pure energy. Stepping out from the swirling dust, the boy's voice drops to a lethal whisper, "Don't you ever cross my path again." The inferno devours the man, his screams echoing until he finally collapses as a broken heap on the cold stone. Klaus is stunned. He knew the kid had spark, but an unawakened novice just absolutely dominated a veteran high mage. Approaching the fallen Malik, the boy asks if such cruelty truly makes him a common criminal. "Can we make him pay?" he asks with a dark smirk. Klaus chuckles. "Oh, we are going to do much more." Reaching for the glowing emerald on his finger, the old man triggers a complex teleportation sequence that lights up the room. Enveloped in verdant light, Malik vanishes. Klaus orders him sent to the surface to face the ultimate judgment for his sins. As the boy seals his power, the dark mana evaporates, leaving him drained. His knees buckle from the weight of battle. Klaus catches him just in time. "Steady now, kid. You've done enough. It's time to leave this nightmare behind us forever." Together, they ascend the crumbling stairs, walking away from the dark and toward the blinding light at the end. The golden sun hits their faces against a canvas of infinite blue. The boy looks at the shattered collar around his neck. "Free," he whispers, a radiant smile breaking across his face. After an eternity in the dark, they finally made it. Turning to the old man, the boy eagerly asks about the legendary magic stones. But the peace is short-lived. "That's him," a guard shrieks, pointing a shaking finger. "That's the slave who burned the entire manor to the ground." In a heartbeat, a wall of steel surrounds the boy as knights draw their blades, their eyes full of accusation. Dragged into a cold courtroom, the boy stands trial for a crime he never intended. The judge's gavel cracks like thunder. The sham trial begins. The judge peers down his nose at the innocent slave boy, his voice dripping with elitist venom. "You stand accused of arson against Lord Malik's estate?" he sneers. "Why bother with questions for a creature like this?" Without a shred of evidence, he passes the sentence. Outside, the bloodthirsty mob howls for the boy's head in a rage. Nobles jeer from the stands, calling him filthy vermin, while guards move in to drag him to his certain doom. But the boy doesn't flinch. His jaw tightens, glaring daggers at the corrupt judge who just signed his death warrant. Just as hope fades, a booming voice cuts through the chaos. "Hold your tongue, I have a major objection." A refined nobleman in glasses steps into the light. The boy's eyes widen. It's the same old man from the dungeon. The courtroom erupts in hushed whispers. Is that Lord Klaus, the legendary master of miracles, has actually appeared in person? Judging a man solely on the chains he once wore, Klaus asks, his gaze sharp enough to cut through the judge. He turns his back on the court and looks directly at the king who sits lazily upon his golden throne. "It's been quite some time, Klaus," the king sighs, looking like he'd rather be anywhere else but this boring trial. "Why would a man of your stature risk everything for a lowly, nameless, enslaved boy?" The boy waits, his heart racing as Klaus prepares to drop a bombshell that will shake the entire kingdom. Because Klaus declares, smirking at the stunned crowd, "This boy is officially my newest magic apprentice." Utterly lost, his temper flares as he bellows, demanding to know if a mere slave has actually awakened. Klaus slides a grimoire and a pulsing mana stone toward the boy, whose fingers tremble as they touch the artifacts. He gazes at the mage in sheer disbelief, his pupils dilating as he processes the old man's life-saving intervention. The mage's gentle smile radiates warmth, urging him to unleash his latent talent. A smirk finally tugs at the boy's lips. Clarity hits him like a lightning bolt. Gripping the magic stone tight, he readies his soul for the coming storm. He realizes respect isn't given, it's taken. To make these elites listen, he must showcase his absolute worth. No longer just a slave, he's a force of nature. With eyes blazing, he vows to unmask the true monster today. Guards lunge to shackle him, but the king's voice thunders. If he's a grimoire smith, he earns the right to speak. The king falls silent, his mind racing as he weighs the impossible reality of an enslaved person's awakening. Skepticism lingers in the air, as the king admits he's never witnessed a slave becoming a grimoire smith. A noble scoffs in agreement, reminding the court that such masters are a legendary rarity. A few per year at best, another sneers impossible for trash. To silence them, the boy slams the stone into the book. Boom! A gargantuan tidal wave erupts from nowhere, drowning the entire courtroom in a swirling vortex. The crowd is paralyzed, jaws dropping as the slave boy displays raw, unbridled power. Even the king stands stunned. Watching with intense focus, the king finally speaks, noting how effortlessly the boy wields that basic water spell. This is a lie, the noble screams, refusing to accept the reality unfolding before his very eyes. He rants about highborn failures, but the boy just rolls his eyes, muttering about how elites love their own voices. Sick of the yapping, he sends a hydroblast surging toward the man, trapping the arrogant noble in a watery cage. Terror paralyzes the noble. Cold sweat pours as the water dances around his throat like a predator ready to strike. The boy spits facts, calling out their obsession with bloodlines and their habit of looking down on everyone else. He asks if being a noble makes them untouchable gods. His gaze is pure, unfiltered fury as he demands an answer. The swirling water inches closer to the man's face. He's shaking now, the stench of fear filling the air. Stuttering like a coward, the man chokes out a no, admitting that the law forbids taking lives regardless of rank. With a sharp, confident grin, the boy weaponizes those words, realizing he now has the leverage he needs. Then he begins, there's a real criminal here who needs to pay. He glares at the man in the top hat. The man in the hat freezes confused. The boy points him out as the one who tried to kill him and Klaus. He exposes Malik's dark secret, using innocent children for his twisted, inhuman experiments. The king's gaze shifts sharply. The king turns to Klaus for the truth. The mage nods solemnly, confirming every word his new apprentice uttered. I wouldn't be standing here without him, Klaus adds, suggesting the basement holds the gruesome evidence they need. Memories of the children locked in Malik's dungeon flash through the boy's mind. He knows they are the smoking gun. They are the living proof of Malik's sins. The young man stands tall, challenging the kingdom to discard him if they dare. Trash me for being a slave if you want, he warns, but I'll burn this place down before I let you take me. His mana surges the courtroom floor, flooding as water soaks the expensive robes of the terrified nobility. Klaus cuts through the tension, framing the boy's outburst as a warning of what the kingdom might lose. He poses the ultimate question: can the king really afford to throw away a talent this legendary? Silence falls. The two stand defiant in the heart of the court, waiting for the king to play his hand. The king sighs, ending the trial, and commanding his knights to raid Malik's estate without delay. Decision made. Klaus and the boy turn to exit the lion's den, their heads held high in victory. Before they vanish, the king's voice rings out, warning Klaus to keep a very close eye on his gifted student. Klaus bows with a smirk, promising to guide him. Outside, the boy stretches, finally breathing the air of freedom. A radiant smile breaks across his face. The weight of the chains is gone, replaced by a refreshing new life. Klaus chuckles, noting the boy looks like a completely different person in his new gear. Are you really the strongest mage? The boy asks. Klaus corrects him, call me master. I'm a grimoire smith. Buzzing with hype, the boy asks about stones and gear. Klaus tells him to chill, but the kid is already planning. The master smiles. The journey is just beginning, and his apprentice has a lot to learn about the fundamentals. The youth freezes in shock, stammering that his only goal is the stones, but Klaus cuts him off, calling him Alan. Wearing a visible pout, Alan tunes in to his new mentor. Klaus warns him that this continent is a death trap. With demons swarming from the west, the mage's expression turns ice cold, forcing the boy to grasp the lethal stakes. He warns that solo travel is suicide, yet Alan's knuckles whiten as he grips his fist in silent defiance. Fueling his dream with pure grit, Alan demands to hunt the stones, holding his master to a sacred vow. You're the one who showed me this world, Alan barks. The mage sighs, finally sensing the boy's burning resolve. Recognizing the raw talent and restless spirit of his apprentice, Klaus taps the boy's head with his grimoire, empathizing deeply. Klaus declares that to survive the hunt for magic stones, Alan must first evolve into a true grimoire smith. Knowledge is power. The master reveals a hoard of glittering jewels, breaking down their mystical ranks and hidden traits. He promises that mastering magic at the legendary Magic Tower will completely shatter Alan's narrow worldview. The tower offers the ultimate arsenal for his quest, and Klaus urges him to exploit every resource they provide. Use them to live exactly how you choose, Klaus tempts. Alan echoes the words, the weight of the choice sinking in. A faint smirk plays on Alan's lips as he stares at his hands, imagining the elusive magic stones within his grasp. To claim his freedom, he must first claim power. With eyes blazing with new purpose, Alan makes his choice. He nods, accepting the gamble. If the magic tower is the path to strength, then that is where he'll go. But he flashes a cocky grin, warning that if it's a waste of time, he's hitting the road immediately. Klaus chuckles, unfazed by the threat, fully betting on the explosive potential hidden within his young student. Welcome to your beginning, Klaus beams. Ahead, the magic tower looms, a colossal monument of ancient power. The newest Grimoire smith has arrived. Alan steps into his first day, heart racing and ready to face the unknown. Klaus begins the briefing, revealing the tower isn't just a school, it's the world's primary shield against darkness. It's a dual fortress for research and war, where Grimoire smiths hunt high-stakes missions for the Empire. Here, freedom is absolute. One can chase knowledge or glory. Alan hangs on every word, absorbing the tower's secrets. The explanation ends as the mage gestures toward a spiraling staircase, giving Alan his final objective. Go complete your registration, Klaus commands, before abruptly turning his back, leaving Alan standing in total confusion. Citing urgent business, Klaus leaves him behind. With one last grave look, the mage wishes him luck. Alan begins the grueling climb up the endless soul-crushing stairs, his legs screaming for mercy with every step. He groans in agony, cursing the infinite climb. His face twists into a grumpy scowl as he struggles upward. Dragging his feet, he finally hits the summit, panting and praying he's actually in the right place. Regaining his swagger, he smirks and heads for the counter. Suddenly, the air around him shatters. Something streaks past his face like a bullet. Startled, he spins around to see massive mystical gears grinding overhead. The sight is mind-blowing. People are literally drifting through the air in a room that defies gravity. He watches a mage carving golden, glowing runes into a wall that reveals itself as a colossal living book. Alan stands mesmerized as researchers wield their grimoires like weapons of logic, leaving him completely lost in the chaos. A bubbly blonde girl crashes into his space, chirping, "Are you the legendary Mr. Allen we've been waiting for?" The receptionist's sudden energy catches him off guard. She reveals that the Tower Master himself announced his arrival. With a bright smile, she congratulates him. One quick signature, and his life as a smith officially begins. She presents his ID on a silver tray. Alan's eyes widen. Is this a genuine monostone he's holding? She confirms his hunch. As a fresh apprentice, he's been gifted a pure water element stone. Rank up through missions to unlock true authority, she teases. Alan's eyes light up. He wants a mission right now. She points to the titanic book Memoria, explaining it's the heartbeat of all missions and tower history. Memoria isn't just paper. It's a living archive of every quest and breakthrough ever recorded in these walls. It even tracks his own soul's data. Intrigued, Alan reaches out to touch the pulsating surface of the tome. As his fingers graze the magic parchment, a digital pulse ripples out, verifying his identity as Alan. His apprentice status flashes before him. The woman whispers that he can simply use his voice to command the magic. "Show me the missions," Alan commands. Instantly, the book erupts with a flood of possibilities for his new life. Beaming, the receptionist notes he needn't explain further. She clarifies that by standard decree, fresh apprentices must partner with a higher-ranked mage for field duties. Meanwhile, the mystical grimoire continues cycling through every available quest for his selection. She announces the master already handpicked his debut task, but the boy points elsewhere. He insists on the ore investigation instead. Trembling, she warns that's a graduation-level trial. Crawling with lethal fiends. Unfazed, the book glows as it registers his daring choice, sending the clerk into a total frenzy. She screams that it's a suicide mission, yet the youth remains eerily stoic. Amidst her panic, he calmly inquires about this Lucas. Stunned, she gasps, realizing he hasn't even met his legendary partner yet. Lucas, she explains, is the sole disciple of the Miracle Master himself. Achieving intermediate rank in 4 years, he crushed the 10-year norm. Another clerk calls him a god-tier genius, making Alan grimace. They whisper how the master broke decades of silence just to mentor this Lucas fellow. Rumored to be the only heir capable of mastering Claus's long-distance research. Eavesdropping on their chatter, a passing mage decides to interject with a sneer, mocking the newcomer's past as a slave. The receptionist ignores the insult, fawning over Alan. Pondering the dynamic with his senior, the boy grabs the mission scroll and exits. He soon stands before a grand, opulent entrance, searching for his assigned teammate. Muttering about the hassle of duo work, he pushes inside, resolved to just endure it. His only goal, climbing the tower's ranks. Inside, a blonde man roars in frustration, complaining about the 3-day deadline. Masked Alan eyes the chaotic mess in disbelief. He grumbles about the lack of order, while stooping to salvage scattered vital documents. Noticing the intruder, the blonde snaps his head around, calling for the master. The senior demands his identity, while Alan simply stares back with cold surprise. Realization dawns. He introduces himself as Lucas Valen Allen's superior apprentice. So this is the famous Lucas Allen Muses hiding his slight startle. The elder asks if he's been briefed on their joint venture. He tells the rookie to relax, promising protection. Handing over a briefing, the blonde offers guidance, but the boy cuts him short. He coolly states he isn't nervous and can handle the heat just fine. Then Alan drops a bombshell revealing he swapped the mission as he shows the seal. Lucas pales, recognizing the perilous southern forest mines, no place for a beginner. Ignoring the warning, the boy simply asks for the departure time. Lucas sighs. Noting the morning carriage takes 2 hours, Alan declares a dawn departure and vanishes. Without a backward glance, the rookie leaves a stunned senior staring at the papers. Surveying his ruined desk, Lucas groans about his wasted cleaning. Meanwhile, Alan wanders. Grimoire in hand, he notes his partner seems decent, but seeing the senior frantically tidying up, he senses something deeper. The youth watches him intensely. As Lucas dives into study, Alan decides friendship isn't necessary for this journey. He loots the shelves for useful lore, his hunger for knowledge growing boundless. With a sharp smile, he plunges into his research, hyper-focused. In the scrolls, he uncovers secrets of a grimoire ceremony, eager to reach those ancient stones. He spends the entire night devouring books until exhaustion finally claims him. Waking abruptly, he peers down from the balcony at the massive workshop below. Despite the hour, Lucas is still grinding, analyzing mana stones with surgical precision. Alan's eyes ignite as he spots the breathtaking gems shimmering in his partner's grip. A violent purple light erupts from one stone, just as Lucas senses his gaze. Apologizing for the wake-up call, the boy descends the stairs and approaches the table, insisting it's no trouble at all. He then casually picks up one of the glimmering gems and hands it to the senior, who watches him with an intrigued smile. The boy's eyes sparkle as he admires the stone, mesmerized by its sheer beauty. The blonde's eyes widen in shock. He asks if this rookie can actually perceive the magic swirling within. Normally, in this vast tower, only the master and he possess the vision to see the gem's ancient essence. But the boy's focus shifts to the intricate golden frame encasing the small stone. Comparing it to the others, he notes that this specific housing is designed differently from the rest. The senior is baffled by the boy's unexpected observation. The young man then points to 2 specific jewels, claiming they are identical. The senior finally catches on, explaining that the border designs vary for a very specific reason. Curiosity piqued, the boy asks about attribute and derivative stones. The blonde explains that these gems are meticulously processed to serve as a conduit for a mage's power. With a sharp, focused gaze, the boy nods, absorbing every bit of his partner's wisdom. Gems are split into 2 categories based on the ancient mana they hold. Attribute gems command the raw forces of nature: fire, water, earth, and wind. Derivative gems, however, are far more unique. They trigger phenomena outside the natural elements, granting extraordinary abilities. From seeing through solid objects to even more mysterious powers, their utility is endless. The senior adds that these derivatives can even amplify one's hearing to superhuman levels. The boy then gestures to an empty slot in the grimoire his partner holds. He points out that the left and right circuits are distinct. The right side is reserved strictly for derivative stones, while the left houses attribute gems. The rookie asks if these circuits are the key to drawing out the ancient magic, and the blonde confirms his hunch. It's only through these grimoires that mages can wield such devastating power. Alan grips the attribute gem, his gaze burning with intense curiosity. His partner emphasizes that above all else, these grimoires are a mage's most vital possession. The young man leans in his focus absolute as he hangs on every word. With a deadly serious expression, the senior declares that for a mage, this book is life itself. The boy's mind flashes back to his master's similar warning. He remembers Klaus's thunderous voice shouting, "Don't you dare touch my book." The blonde explains that a perfectly synced grimoire makes casting magic effortless. The rookie wonders if the right book truly makes such a massive difference in power. The senior finally realizes why the boy accepted such a suicidal mission. The prize for success is nothing less than the right to join the selection. The boy confirms his goal with a smirk, and the older mage tells him to return the borrowed gems. The young man looks at his grimoire, seeing it now as his ultimate travel companion. The carriage wheels churn violently as they race toward their destiny. By the following dawn, the duo finally reaches the ominous shadows of the southern forest. The blonde notes the treacherous, muddy terrain left behind by the heavy rains. Pointing toward the distance, the boy asks if that's the miners' village. His partner nods in confirmation. They move toward the settlement, but a chilling realization hits: there's not a single soul in sight. They stand frozen, observing the ghostly silence of the abandoned village. The rookie whispers, asking if the mine's proximity is the reason for this eerie stillness. His partner agrees, noting the entrance is just ahead. Suddenly, the boy's instinct screams something is wrong. He snaps into a combat stance. In that heartbeat, a dark shadow streaks like a bullet right between the 2 mages. Dozens of demonic beasts with glowing crimson eyes emerge from the gloom. The senior growls that these are the very monsters they were sent to exterminate. With a cold, serious look, the boy grips the grimoire he was entrusted with. From a bird's eye view, the 2 mages look like tiny specks, completely surrounded by a ravenous pack of wolves. The boy recalls the specific gems lent to him for this hunt. He has fire, water, and earth gems ready for the slaughter. The blonde considers using fire for a quick end, but fears the forest will burn. He commands the rookie to stay back so he can shield him. The senior begins channeling mana through his earth attribute stone, but the boy just smiles confidently, declaring he can handle himself as his magic surges to life. With absolute certainty, the young man prepares to unleash his hidden potential. He touches the earth gem embedded in his grimoire, ready to invoke his first true spell. A brilliant golden radiance erupts from the book as he enters the fray. A massive, glowing magic circle manifests beneath his feet, shaking the ground. His partner watches in disbelief as the rookie manipulates high-level magic with terrifying ease. The boy feels the gem's raw power. It's a wild beast to control, but he pushes through with a fierce battle cry. He summons a colossal wave of sand from the earth. The sand instantly hardens into lethal spikes, impaling a demonic beast with brutal precision. The monster shrieks before dissolving into nothing but dark, ethereal particles. Covered in dust, the senior stares at the carnage, completely floored by the display. As the blonde stands in shock, the boy just smiles, casually mentioning he learned the secret to slaying. One look at the kid's face, and the veteran finally sees the real deal. He admits the rookie earns his spot and offers a rare apology. Now the senior demands a real show of force as they clash side by side. They're a blur of motion weaving earth and gale into a lethal dance. Suddenly, a wolf lunges from the shadows, targeting the blonde mage's blind spot. But these two aren't amateurs, they're locked in and ready for anything. A blood-curdling scream echoes from the mines, snapping their focus instantly. Down below, a terrified miner is cornered by a savage demonic beast. No hesitation, they ignite their mana and blast straight toward the chaos. The kid panics, worried they're too far out to save the guy. Without a word, the senior yanks him by the collar, catching him off guard. "Clutch that grimoire like your life depends on it," the veteran barks. With lethal intensity, the blonde mage starts chanting the Israfila wind spell. A massive vortex erupts, catapulting them into the sky like a rocket. The veteran roars his partner's name as they soar toward the mines. The rookie shakes off the shock, bracing for a high-impact landing. Deep in the caverns, a worker is trapped with 0 exits left. They dive right over a massive wolf, the undisputed alpha of this pack. Mid-flight, the kid snaps open his grimoire to trigger an earth spell. Jagged stone pillars erupt from the floor, shielding the miner from death. The miner gasps in relief, thanking his saviors for that clutch intervention. "Get to safety," the blonde yells. "We'll take care of these monsters." A titanic wolf emerges, explaining why this pack is so damn huge. This is the great father of wolves, and he's looking for blood. The rookie's eyes widen. He spots something strange inside the beast's forehead gem. A mysterious golden shimmer is flickering deep within that central stone. "Can we take this thing down without shattering the gem?" the boy asks. His unique sight confirms it. A rare mana stone is hidden inside. The senior sees nothing but a monster, and grows confused by the question. Is he the only one seeing this? Is there a deeper connection? Grinning, the rookie tells him he'll just have to watch and learn. He licks his lips. Now he's determined to claim that golden prize. "First, we need to freeze this beast in its tracks," the kid explains. The veteran skeptically asks if he really sees a gold glow in there. "It's faint, but I see it perfectly," the rookie confirms with confidence. The blonde realizes the kid isn't capping, he truly has a special gift. The veteran agrees to the play, sending the kid's hype levels skyrocketing. Alan plans to lock the wolf down while his partner prepares to strike. The senior nods at the clever strategy and begins a wind incantation. He unleashes a binding spell, locking the massive wolf in a cage. The beast is trapped. "Now, make your move," the veteran screams. The rookie grips the earth gem, visualizing the final stages of the trap. He focuses his mana to crumble the solid ground into shifting sand. Above them, the blonde mage hovers, pouring power into the binding spell. The rookie thrusts his hand into the gathering mana. His senior watches in pure shock as violent flames ignite. They bleed into his wind spell. With razor-sharp focus, the kid fuses the elements into a dual attribute storm. The blazing fusion roars toward the demonic beast. The veteran mage tracks the lethal projectile as it closes in. "Fire!" he bellows. The blonde mage roars in agreement, channeling every drop of mana to unleash their combined strike. Straight at the monster, the infernal gale slices through the air, accelerating toward the colossal titan. Direct hit. The gem is torn right from the beast's skull, and its physical form starts to disintegrate. The crystal spirals away as the boy sticks the landing. His partner cheers, savoring their hard-won triumph. They finally secured it. But wait, the rookie is already diving headfirst off the edge of the platform. He's chasing the falling treasure. The boy plunges through the sky, reaching out with desperate, trembling hands. His eyes are locked on the crimson shard. He readies his grip, prepared to seize the glowing prize. At the last second, his fingers snap shut around the gem. He shouts in victory as his boots hit dirt. Holding the trophy high, he grins, mission accomplished. The blonde veteran descends, offering a rare word of praise. As the kid examines the core, the senior realizes his talent is already on par with intermediate mages. He can't forget that perfect mana synchronization. A faint smile plays on the senior mage's lips. This kid is a once-in-a-generation genius. He sighs, realizing he's ended up with a terrifyingly gifted apprentice. The boy stays grounded, mesmerized by the stone's glow. Beaming, he waves his senior over to look. He points out a mysterious golden shimmer. Handing it over, he notes the mana feels strangely faint. The veteran inspects the rock but sees absolutely nothing. He shrugs, deciding to consult the master later. Could there be ancient mana hidden inside? Nearby, the trembling miners watch their saviors with awe. They check if the mages are injured. The blonde confirms the threat is dead and checks for casualties. Suddenly, the boy freezes, sensing something eerie from the mine's depths. He stops dead in his tracks. A chilling sensation washes over him. It felt like a ghostly voice was calling his name, distant but clear. Haunted by the feeling, he scans the area before touching the gem on his chest. It pulses with a faint, ethereal light. His partner's voice snaps him back to reality. The senior needs to log the finds. The boy nods and they gear up for the next phase. It's time to scour the ore vein. The blonde signals the start, but the rookie hesitates, staring back. He eventually follows. They reach a village manor, where a family tearfully thanks the boy for their lives. The senior finishes the paperwork while the rookie gazes outside. They still have to verify the mana source. Standard protocol requires a stone check. The kid's eyes light up at the prospect of an entire vein. He drags his partner along, fueled by curiosity, but an old-timer suddenly blocks their path. No entry allowed. A panicked villager begs the elder not to provoke the wrath of Lord Onuma. The mages exchange confused looks. Who on earth is this lord person they're so afraid of? He's an ancient forest guardian dwelling within the mine. The duo listens intently to the chilling legend. Their faces turn grim. Despite his son's pleas, the old man blames the mages for the fiend's rampage. The two exchange bewildered glances. This hostility is unexpected. How should they handle this roadblock? They push past the elder to complete their mission. The pair finally steps into the abyss. The mine's darkness swallows them whole. The senior suspects this lord is actually a phantom beast. The rookie's curiosity piques. The blonde clarifies that these creatures aren't typical animals. They aren't fiends either, but something far more enigmatic. The boy's head is spinning. Their bodies are composed of pure mana stones. Hearing this, the boy's excitement hits a new level. They live for 1,000 years wielding ancient magic. Many remain hidden from the Magic Tower's records. These rare entities are worshipped as living gods. Could one be lurking right under their feet? Who knows, but if it exists, it's definitely not in any official archive. Don't get it hyped, they're divine. Yet rumors say they occasionally bestow unique gifts upon chosen mages. A golden phoenix blesses a mortal in the lore, but the senior dismisses it as fiction. Reading ancient scrolls, the boy grins, finding the concept of a gift-giving deity absolutely fascinating. Eyes wide with wonder, he pictures a creature forged from mana stones, hoping an immortal could reveal their true origins. Was that voice just a monster? The young hero wonders, his heart racing with the desire to finally communicate. Peering into the abyss, the cavern's hidden glory leaves him breathless. His gaze sparkles, captivated by this ethereal, one-of-a-kind sanctuary. They finally reach the mana vein, where colossal azure crystals pulse. He's drawn toward that mesmerizing, sapphire-like glow. Floating through the space, he reaches out his fingers, brushing a mana stone with pure, unadulterated awe. Beaming, he declares, this hidden grotto is the most stunning sight he has ever laid eyes on. The blonde notes that for their kind, the search is effortless, thanks to that radiant golden aura. His partner nods, recalling that ordinary mages rely on tools. Suddenly, a blinding migraine hits, and the boy gasps. Scanning the shadows, he feels that eerie sensation creeping back. That mysterious voice is calling his name once more. Gravity fails as crystals begin to levitate. He lets out a cry, leaving his partner frantic and fearing the worst. Disaster strikes. The floor shatters, sending him plunging into the void. His desperate screams echo through the darkness. Swallowed by the mine's throat, he falls through the crushing dark toward a mysterious golden shimmer at the abyss's floor. He hits the ground with a heavy thud, groaning from the impact. Suddenly, a streak of gold flashes past. Crystal reflections dance in his eyes. Looking up, the sheer volume of gems leaves him completely and utterly floored. He stumbled into a massive cathedral of mana stones. In total disbelief, he wonders if this treasure is even real. Surrounded by a sea of radiance, he questions his senses. His eyes sparkle, mesmerized by the sheer impossible beauty. From high above, his partner's worried voice rings out. The young mage quickly shouts back that he's all right. Pushing deeper into the cave, the blue intensity becomes blinding. Suddenly, he freezes in his tracks, his heart hammering. Noticing one massive spire pulsing with alien light, he spots a silhouette shifting deep within the crystal's heart. Are those horns? Before he can think, a gargantuan crystalline beast begins tearing itself free from the stone wall. He watches, paralyzed, questioning if this titan is actually alive. The behemoth locks eyes with him, staring intensely. A voice speaks of a nostalgic scent. Sensing zero killing intent, the boy relaxes as the voice tells him to chill. It's surreal the voice isn't heard through his ears, but vibrating directly inside his mind like a psychic echo. Seeing its body forged from pure mana, the truth finally clicks. Stunned, he asks if it's the legendary Phantom Beast. The creature confirms its ancient title, leaving the boy completely shook by the revelation. Recalling his partner's warnings, he asks if it was the caller. The beast admits it followed his unique scent. The beast reveals a shocking secret: his eyes perceive the same hidden world that phantom creatures inhabit. It hasn't encountered a human like him in ages, leaving the boy lost in a whirlwind of deep thoughts. His eyes burn with golden fire as he absorbs the explanation. The young hero reveals his glowing palms. Is this the light, he asks. The crystal beast's interest peaks, leaning in closer to inspect the divine radiance. It identifies the power as ancient magic. He's clueless, but the beast explains his eyes are mirrors for mana itself. It mentions the sealed primordial magic, admitting even its vast wisdom can't explain why he was granted such eyes. The beast recalls a friend's words: "These eyes are a blessing for those the world truly loves." He repeats the phrase, pondering what it actually means to be the world's most beloved child. Looking thoughtful, he processes this massive lore drop. He steps forward, reaching out to touch the beast's shimmering skin. His fingers finally meet the creature's radiant, icy surface. He notes the sensation is surprisingly cold to the touch. It's incredibly refreshing. Grinning, he describes the feeling like a surge of heavy, freezing mountain water. He presses his cheek against the crystal, calling the beast beautiful. The creature actually offers a surprised thanks. That's a first. It vows to flex this compliment to the 7-star kings, leaving our protagonist totally confused. The beast explains they are the ultimate life forms, the literal pillars holding the entire world together. The boy is floored. There are 7 beings even more cracked than this one. The beast realizes it overshared. It's been centuries since it saw the kings. The boy makes a hilarious face, realizing that immortality must be exhausting. The beast prepares to hibernate again, but the boy quickly stops it with a barrage of curious questions. He asks about the ancient magic, but the beast tells him to relax, calling him the world's favorite child. A radiant love flows from him, foretelling that the 7-star kings will soon cross his destiny. They'll lead him to magic's source. As the boy stands stunned, the beast whispers its final revelation. "Hear the truth from the kings," it says, demanding the boy hold out his hand for a blessing. The creature grants a humble gift to the future mage, sensing a soul capable of handling ultimate power. A light beam erupts from its horn, forming a scale. Is this a mana stone? The boy wonders. The scale glows intensely, as the beast names him a child favored by the entire world. With this gift, he'll reach his goal, the primeval mana stone. The boy is left utterly speechless. Shocked by the news, he tries to stop the fading beast, his mind racing with 1,000 questions. He shouts for answers, but a blinding flash consumes everything, searing his vision with pure white light. The beast vanishes. Back in the darkness, the boy clutches the crystal, while his partner's voice echoes nearby. His friend rushes over with a lantern, looking relieved to find the rookie alive, if a bit dazed. Where did the giant cave go? He asks. He can still feel the beast's presence now far away. The creature is sleeping in a distant realm. "Hey, what's that in your hand?" his partner asks curiously. Fumbling awkwardly, the boy explains that the phantom beast gave him this scale as a divine gift. Stuttering through the explanation, he gets completely flustered under his friend's suspicious and judging gaze. Suspicion lingers as they return to the magic tower, where their master begins to analyze the mysterious stones. Klaus notes that these aren't ordinary mana stones. They are far more unique than anything they usually mine. The senior demands a report, but the rookie's head is spinning. The master offers to handle it himself. While finishing the report, the master snaps his fingers, pulling the apprentice out of his crystal-induced trance. "Polish that scale into a jewel," he suggests. The boy cheers as the master prepares the necessary tools. Klaus mentions research reports and choosing a grimoire, but the boy is clearly lost in his own world. The word grimoire finally snaps him back to reality. Suddenly, the rookie is focused and fired up. Bursting with excitement, he grabs his partner. "We have to go, right now, let's move," he shouts. He's desperate for that new grimoire. The poor blonde is dragged along by the rookie's sheer, unbridled hype. Finally, they reach the selection area. The boy's heart races. Today, he finally claims his own magic book. They step into a massive shadowed hall that looks like an ancient archive from another era. A locked, chained gate blocks the path. Driven by curiosity, the young man peeks through a tiny crack. Inside lies an infinite ocean of grimoires. Standing there, he dreams of the partner he's destined to find. The boy is ready. As he hands over his documents, the air itself seems to vibrate with anticipation. A heavy bell tolls, starting the ceremony. The gate's massive gears grind together with a deafening metallic roar. High-ranking mages turn in surprise, whispering about who could possibly be participating in this rare selection. One mage is shocked to see the rookie. Disdainful eyes fall upon the group, questioning their very presence. What a fool, they sneer. A grimoire would never choose a low-born rookie with that background. But the protagonist knows the truth. The Golden Book isn't just a myth. He's seen the forbidden records. A worried blonde girl calls out to him. Meanwhile, the guards prepare the final passage to the archive. The path to the grimoires is open. Are all the world's magic books really kept in there? He asks. His partner confirms it's the archive for masterless books before giving him a final life or death set of instructions. Listen up. Rule number 1 is the most important thing you'll ever hear in this tower. Never touch the shelves. If a book chooses you, it will fly to your hand on its own. The boy's face falls. So I might leave with nothing. The senior nods, showing the permit's fine print. It's only a chance to participate. Suddenly, the gates swing wide and a blinding light erupts from within. His partner warns that the archive has no respect for the weak or inexperienced. The books decide everything. The boy just smiles. If he isn't chosen today, he'll just train until the world can't ignore him. You'll have to start from zero, his friend warns. But before they enter, he stops the boy once more. The blonde reaches out, handing over a mysterious golden sphere. Take this, you're going to need all the help possible. The young mage stares in awe as the metallic orb sprouts wings and takes flight, catching him totally off guard. His ally clarifies it's a surveillance drone designed to keep him in check by streaming his every move live to Memoria. Spectating students buzz with excitement, pointing at the hovering artifact while gossiping about its bizarre, fluttering movements. Flashing a reassuring grin, the senior promises to wait at the entrance, giving the nervous rookie the final boost he needs. With a final good luck from his comrade, the boy steps into the legendary library, eyes burning with sheer resolve. He takes a resolute stride, finally breaching the threshold of the massive grimoire sanctum. Now isolated within the cavernous archives, the magical eye tails him like a silent shadow. The silence is eerie, but the air thrums with an unnatural rhythm, making it feel like the walls are actually breathing. Suddenly, a radiant glow erupts from the towering rafters, instantly snagging the young hero's attention. He quickly realizes most volumes are dormant, and only the shimmering tomes possess the sentience to choose their master. Recalling the strict no-touching rule, he makes a comical grimace while contemplating his next move. Crossing his arms, he wonders how on earth he'll convince a magical book to claim him as its owner. A flicker of movement in the shadows puts him on high alert as his heart rate spikes. Peering cautiously around a dusty bookshelf, he searches for any signs of a lurking monster or hostile fiend. It's no monster, but something far more mystical is closing in on him fast. A massive white wolf bearing a mysterious crest on its brow suddenly prowls out from the darkness. As the beast dashes past, he panics about the precious books and instinctively sprints after the majestic predator. The chase is on as he pursues the spectral wolf through a labyrinth of endless, towering shelves. Gasping for air, the boy finally skids to a halt, scanning the dizzying heights to locate his target. Perched atop a mountain of knowledge, the creature lets out a haunting howl toward the ceiling. Mesmerized by the breathtaking display, the young mage watches the wolf with eyes wide in admiration. The wolf's roar echoes through the halls as its eyes ignite with a terrifyingly powerful violet radiance. Frozen in confusion, the boy stands mesmerized, unable to comprehend the unfolding magical phenomenon. The beast enters a meditative trance before its crest erupts, unleashing a violent shockwave of pure purple energy. Massive arcane circles materialize beneath him as the boy is swallowed by a blinding pillar of violet light. The sheer magnitude of the mana sends him reeling as a concussive blast of magic hurls him backward. He crashes into the floor, his limbs heavy and paralyzed by the overwhelming intensity of the cosmic glow. While the orb captures every epic second, the crowd outside gasps at the violet flare erupting from within. A legendary grimoire begins to manifest in midair, leaving the other students questioning the newcomer's true potential. Even the veteran instructors are speechless, having never witnessed such a high-tier awakening ceremony before. The master ponders if the kid's rare connection to ancient arts is the catalyst for this madness. Amidst the fading light, the glowing tome drifts slowly toward the dazed young mage. Shakily finding his feet, he reaches out to claim the destiny that has finally chosen him. As the grimoire meets his palms, he feels a titanic surge of mana that feels terrifyingly alive. A rhythmic pulse of energy, like a magical heartbeat, thrums through his veins in an exhilarating rush. Holding the tome, a wave of soothing warmth and raw, untamed power washes away his fatigue. A wide grin spreads across his face as he realizes he's found his ultimate partner for life. He clutches the book, tightly beaming with joy, while the audience outside watches the legendary moment unfold. The old sage admits he saw greatness in the boy, but this level of power is unprecedented. Back at headquarters, the master welcomes them back, curious about the results of the selection trial. Brimming with pride, the boy displays his new prize, though the master reveals he's already seen everything. Having watched the live feed, the master takes the ancient tome to perform a final inspection. He notes the book's weathered appearance but confirms it's a high-tier match for the boy's unique energy. Handing the treasure back, he warns the young mage to treat his new companion with absolute respect. He then commands them to sit, as it's time for a deadly serious talk about their future path. He relishes the peaceful outcome. Sipping a steaming tea, he finds the soothing aroma absolutely perfect for his nerves. The master turns grim deeply, contemplating the boy's words regarding the mystical blessing bestowed by the spirit creature. The mage demands a recount. He needs to hear the Phantom Beast's exact declaration to his young apprentice again. Obliging, the boy recounts every detail from the magical encounter within the depths of the glowing crystal cave. He reveals the beast called him a child favored by the world. Apparently, his eyes hold a unique golden light. This vision allows him to see the world through a monster's perspective. The beast also dropped a shocking prophecy. The 7 Star Kings will lead him to magic's origin. Realizing the stakes, the master prepares for a heavy confession. It's time for the truth. He starts by detailing the legendary fame surrounding the mysterious 7 Star Kings. Unrolling an old map, he points out the 5 iconic territories. Each land is ruled by a massive spirit creature. The boy is baffled. If there are only 5 known regions, why does the legend mention 7 Star Kings? His companion admits the final 2 kings remain lost to time. He and the master have spent years searching in vain. After endless investigation, they've found nothing. Clasping his hands, the boy asks about the elusive source of magic. The master sighs, suggesting the source is likely the mythical object mentioned in the most ancient of legends. This item's name has haunted history for generations. Scholars believe it is the first magic stone ever born. Whether it truly exists remains a mystery. Finding it would be like chasing a ghost from the beginning of time. Utilizing its hidden power would solve a centuries-old riddle. We would finally grasp the essence of true ancient magic. Locking eyes with his student, the master's tone becomes deadly serious. He acknowledges the beast's promise of guidance. If the kings are to be his guides, then his path is clear. He must track down every Star King. The master insists the hunt is necessary. The boy wonders if his fate is tied to the primordial mana stone. He imagines if common stones glow this fiercely, then the stones of the kings must be beyond comprehension. His eyes sparkle with ambition. The thought of witnessing such legendary power sends his imagination into overdrive. Standing tall, the boy declares his resolve. He will become the world's greatest grimoire smith, no matter the cost. He will find the 7 Star Kings and witness every legendary mana stone with his own 2 eyes. Preparation is key, the master warns. He then drops a bombshell about the sinister fiends lurking in the west. Their true targets are the spirit creatures themselves. His partner confirms a recent attack in the Guardian's territory. Chasing the Star Kings means clashing with these monsters. To survive, he must ascend as the ultimate grimoire smith. Maintenance is the first step. He sends the boy to the magic tower to tune up his spellbook. Arriving at the tower, the boy feels a wave of suspicion. The vibe of this place is definitely off. Inside, the workshop district hums with energy. Countless artisans are hunched over their benches, grinding away with passion. This lively hub is the tower's beating heart. As he enters, the boy is overwhelmed by the sheer bustle. Suddenly, an elf appears from the shadows, asking if his grimoire needs a professional touch-up. Jumping in surprise, the boy grumbles but hands over his book. The artisan promises a quick expert fix. While invited inside, the boy questions if the elf can diagnose the book with just a single glance. The elf nods confidently. Placing the grimoire down, he praises the boy's choice and urges him to cherish it. Noticing the elf's distinct pointed ears, the boy's curiosity peaks. They are sharp, long, and quite striking. Sporting a cool piercing, the elf explains his forest folk heritage and their unique mastery over magical crafts. He gestures toward the stone guardians. These sturdy beings also serve as elite artisans within the tower's walls. The boy's jaw drops at the sight of raw mana stones. He realizes these fragments fuel the tower's inventions. Grinning, he reaches out to feel the power, but a guardian quickly blocks his path. Rules are rules. This encounter sparks a brilliant idea. He turns to the elf, asking about creatures in the forest lands. Is there a spirit king in your homeland? The elf smirks, intrigued by the boy's sudden burst of interest. Vibrating with excitement, the boy begs for details. He needs to know its form and what powers it wields. Sadly, the elf admits he's just a simple craftsman. The secrets of the kings are beyond his pay grade. Undeterred, the boy knows his journey toward legendary smithing has only just begun. The grind starts now. Clutching his grimoire, he feels the raw pulse of mana. The long, dangerous road ahead finally feels real. Luckily, he knows a contact. Our hero just stands there totally clueless about what's coming. The craftsman's words make zero sense. Then the elf mentions a legendary squad with unmatched beast knowledge. Beckoning him closer with a sly smirk, the elf prepares to leak a top-tier secret just for him. Apparently, the mage's vibe is surprisingly chill for a human. Intrigued, the boy leans in, ears wide open. Soaking up every word he learns, their caravan is hitting the magic tower any second now. Each year, a high-tier warrior guards them. It's strictly classified intel, according to the elf. The boy realizes this is a legendary guardian. Miles away, a caravan rolls down a dusty path. An elf girl relaxes inside, looking totally over it. She sighs about how boring this escort gig is. A soldier reports they've nearly reached the magic tower. She just nods, staring blankly at the clouds. While pondering her destination, memories of a brutal forest ambush suddenly flash through her mind. That warrior was pure grit, but bleeding out and completely overwhelmed by the enemy's numbers. Suddenly, a long-haired elf emerges, wearing a lethal smirk beneath the cold moonlight. She figures he was doomed anyway. Then boom, she slips and tumbles right off the moving wagon. Hoping for some excitement, she sighs. Meanwhile, the boy finally gets his restored grimoire back. He beams with joy while thanking the smith. Above, a bird soars through the vast open sky. It sheds glowing feathers, shimmering with pure mana. One drifts slowly toward the massive magic tower. Inside, our young mage is grinding. He's laser-focused on polishing that phantom beast's mana scale. His partner bursts in, shouting his name with some major news that cannot wait. The blonde questions his all-nighter. He claims he's nearly finished before his senior drops a hint. The traveling market is officially open. Hyped up, they sprint toward the bustling festival grounds. It's packed with vendors and travelers. The sheer variety of exotic loot leaves him completely speechless. Everything looks legendary to him. A merchant flexes a magical artifact that sparks instant fire. He's totally mesmerized, but hearing forest folk snaps him back to his true mission at the fair. Refocusing, he scans the crowd for that guardian. He spots some elven patrols keeping watch nearby. None fit the description. He recalls the smith's tip about a high-level warrior hidden in the group. No one screams warrior to him. Suddenly, he pauses at a stall showcasing strange animals. A massive bird sits caged, looking miserable and terrified by the loud, chaotic market crowds. He frowns, questioning the ethics of live animal trades. Then, without warning, a massive blast rocks the square. Horses freak out as the boy spins around, stunned. Pure chaos erupts. Civilians scream and bolt, while an elf bellows for everyone to evacuate. A terrifying beast emerges from the smoke. He prays it's just an escaped pet, but deep down, he knows he's wrong. Those glowing red eyes piercing through the fog scream pure danger. An elf girl calls it a morlock, but something is off. The beast begins its violent rampage. It's leveling everything. A patrol elf screams at the humans to run for their lives right now. He spots the boy and roars at him to move. Two elves unleash magical strikes on the morlock. Its aggression is insane. Refusing to be a bystander, our hero flips his grimoire open to strike. The magic lands but only fuels its rage. With one brutal swipe, an elf is sent flying, grimoire ready. The boy locks onto the beast, preparing his counterattack. Suddenly, a massive crystal spire erupts from the earth, pinning the monster's arm instantly. The elves are shocked by the apprentice. He raises his palm, conjuring a radiant sphere of light. He steps up to assist. An elf glares, asking if he has some weird death wish today. He warns that an apprentice is way out of his league here. The boy's expression turns ice cold. He fires back with a challenge. Nearby, the squad keeps bombarding the crystal-trapped beast. One elf screams and panic arrows aren't doing anything against this thing's thick hide. Her comrade sighs, wishing that one legendary person were here to end this nightmare. From the wagon, the elf maiden grumbles, wishing Shumiel was there to rain down long-range support. Where is that slacker hiding, she fumes just as an elf screams for the kid to dodge the beast's berserk fury. The boy conjures a sand wall in a blink, his mind reeling from his own blistering casting speed. It is leagues beyond his old limits. Kicking off the grit, he launches himself high into the sky. He marvels at how effortlessly his green wire power weaves complex spells from this bird's eye view. He hurls a magical sphere at the roaring beast, scoring a direct hit that erupts in a massive cloud of wreckage. Smirking with pride, he finally tastes the grimoire's true potential before reaching for a small, red mana stone. He locks in with total focus, readying the stone to unleash another devastating spell upon the battlefield. Above the monster's head, a colossal water magic circle manifests and begins to spin violently. He tosses the stone into the vortex, fueling a torrential downpour that turns the sand into a suffocating mire. Even he is stunned by the raw power of this high-level elemental fusion. The elf maiden gapes at his sand manipulation, screaming for the apprentice to flee, while the monster sinks into the trap. It is completely immobilized. Suddenly, the wet earth petrifies, transforming the beast into a lifeless stone statue. The elf who doubted him shouts his name in disbelief, frozen by the impossible scene before him. Both elves stare at the petrified horror, their minds failing to process the young mage's overwhelming display. His jaw hits the floor, completely humbled by the boy's strength. But our hero is not finished yet. He casts a final water seal over the statue. The patrol elves whisper in awe, unable to fathom a mere human doing this. That he pulled this off solo is insane. Up on a rooftop, the elf maiden watches with a predatory interest. She smirks, clearly vibing with the kid's talent. The square is a disaster zone, but the monster is finally silent. The dust settles, but the boy's instincts scream that this nightmare is far from over. He fires off another sandblast, but the beast shrugs it off. That's when he spots something eerie on its back. Locking eyes on the anomaly, he senses a foul, dark energy and decides to go all in with everything he has got. His eyes ignite with a verdant glow as he charges a beam of pure, raw, magical energy. The beam pierces the monster's back perfectly. It explodes into a shower of vile black liquid, drenching the young mage. The elf maiden suddenly drops in, casually tossing him a compliment and a wave like they are old friends. He jumps, caught off guard. He can feel it instantly. This woman is in a completely different league from the others. Did I spook you? She teases with a grin. He can only stare, mesmerized by the sheer pressure she radiates. The other elves rush over, calling out the name Shumiel. The realization hits him like a truck. This is her. The legendary guardian he was hunting for at the fair is standing right here. As the elves grill her, the boy watches. He just watches the drama. A red-haired boy screams her name, looking absolutely livid at her lackadaisical attitude. He grabs her collar, demanding to know where she's been. He fumes that if she had stepped in earlier, no one would be hurt. Total chaos could have been avoided, he barks. She just shrugs it off, claiming she fulfilled her duty perfectly. He questions her role, but Shumiel's eyes drop to the elf's arm, spotting something that shifts the whole vibe. One cold look leaves him breathless. Do you even understand your own standing here? She asks, silencing him instantly. She shames them for hiding behind a human child. Once the scolding is done, she turns back to our young hero. She offers more praise, clearly finding the boy's unexpected power, and the whole situation incredibly entertaining. But the excitement peaks when the monster's shattered remains begin to twitch. The elves gasp in pure horror. The beast is regenerating. The boy narrows his eyes as the creature drags its mangled body back into a fighting stance. Fueled by dark energy, the monster readies a devastating counter-assault. Before it can strike, Shumiel snatches the boy up. She zips him to a rooftop, asking if he's okay, while keeping him in a slightly awkward protective embrace. Sorry for the rough handling, she mutters. Below, the monster lets out a bone-chilling roar. Round 2 has officially begun. Shumiel frowns, noting that nothing should be able to walk away from the beatdown she just witnessed. Their eyes lock onto a pulsing red core in the beast's chest. Shumiel offers to draw its fire and provide cover. Think you can land the killing blow? She asks. He agrees, but he has got one major condition for the legendary guardian. With a daring smirk, he demands she grant him a single favor once the dust finally settles. Miss Guardian, he calls, awaiting her move. She beams, thoroughly intrigued by the kid's sheer audacity. The elf promises to reconsider if he wraps this up. High on adrenaline, he realizes this is his chance. Finally, he can grill her about those phantom beasts. He drops the polished mana stone onto his grimoire's seal. A massive geyser erupts, drenching Shumiel instantly. She stands there, soaking wet and utterly bamboozled. The elf maiden watches the surging tides of his magic, a sharp smirk playing on her lips. She's dying to see his book's true limit. Unfazed, the boy scoffs, doing things his own way. Just back me up like you promised, he demands. Nearby elves gape at the insane magical pressure. A titan of water swallows the beast, locking it in a crushing whirlpool. The pressure is absolutely devastating. It's being dragged by pure, relentless force. Time to end this, he mutters, prepping the final strike. Digging deep, he hurls one last colossal wave. The monster takes the full impact head-on. The surge sweeps it across the plaza. The guardian smiles, realizing this kid isn't holding anything back. From their vantage point, they see the beast slumped with a massive hole through its chest. The boy points to a throbbing black mass inside the wound. Target that red core. It's the weak point. Recognizing the target, the elf readies her bow. A sharp green glow illuminates her confident gaze. Her magic arrow streaks through the air, piercing the core with pinpoint accuracy. A violent emerald explosion follows. As the smoke clears, the creature finally collapses into the dirt. Is it finally over? An elf whispers, hope flickering as they stare at the carnage. But the corpse begins to twitch. Hideous red bubbles start boiling across its skin. It morphs into a grotesque pile of flesh and slime, dragging itself back onto its feet. The monster melts into a foul, dark sludge. Terrified elves scream for everyone to run immediately. Shumiel tenses up as the creature reforms, its eyes burning with a hellish light. Without missing a beat, the young mage starts weaving another high-tier spell. He conjures a massive spinning orb of water. It lunges forward, devouring the nightmare whole. The elves watch the magical vortex, praying that this time the nightmare is truly dead. Relief washes over the crowd. Survivors begin emerging, ready to pick up the pieces of their city. Searching the wreckage, he finds the small red core. His blood runs cold. It's the same type used on those servants. Suddenly, the guardian traps him in a playful back hug. "You're amazing, little guy," she chirps, squeezing him tight with genuine admiration. He quickly cashes in the favor, asking about her land's beast king. Her smile wavers in surprise. He bombards her with questions about its appearance and hidden powers. His eyes are glowing with excitement. He's thirsty for every single detail about the legendary beast. The guardian is baffled by his sudden obsession. She pauses, weighing her words carefully. Suddenly, Shumiel leans in close, sniffing the air around him like a curious predator. "Do elves always sniff people?" he asks, weirded out by her sudden closeness. Her expression hardens. "You smell exactly like a phantom beast," she whispers suspiciously. She asks if the creature spoke to him. The young man gives a slow, heavy nod. "That beast reads the past, present, and future," she whispers, sitting down to share a secret. He's floored. The creature sees the future. She warns him that the beast might get angry. "The king knows everything," she murmurs. "That's all the intel you're getting for now. If he wants the full story, he'll have to join the Festival of the Forest Folk." He notes, the next festival isn't for another 2 years. A devious smirk crosses his face. The timing is actually perfect for his master plan. I'm not waiting 2 years, he declares, throwing down a challenge right there. He just needs to beat her now. Shumiel laughs, loving his insane confidence and fire. I like you, kid, she says, but beating me alone won't clear this trial. You must face. Defeating the forest guardians won't be easy, so she tells him to level up and return for the festival in 2 years. When that day arrives, she'll unleash her absolute peak power against the rookie mage. He mirrors her confidence with a bold smirk, warning her not to take him so lightly. He's determined to win that audience with the king of beasts. Suddenly, his master interrupts the moment. The boy spins around, caught completely off guard by his mentor's sudden appearance. Amidst the fair's chaos, the mage approaches them with a sharp, inquisitive gaze. Recognizing the core in the youth's grip, the master sternly demands to examine it. The guardian instantly recognizes the old mage as they lock eyes. It's been ages. The master asks if she's one of the guardians he's been hunting. She laughs, mocking how that little brat turned into such a grumpy old man. Memories of clashing with the 7 guardians flood the master's mind as he eyes the elf maiden. He asks if this kid is her new tower apprentice. Shumiel practically explodes with pure hype. Sensing trouble, she decides to bail and leaps away before anyone can react. With a quick wave, she vanishes into thin air, leaving the group stunned. The boy yells for her to wait. He's still got burning questions to ask. She shouts back that she'll be waiting in the forest lands. He's left frustrated and hanging. The master warns him those guardians possess power beyond his wildest imagination. He can no longer compete, but the boy can. The apprentice takes these words to heart. With a firm nod, he accepts the challenge, eager to face the legendary king. A massive eagle-like beast waits in the shadows, its eyes glowing with anticipation. Days later, the master analyzes the red core, finding links to a forbidden laboratory. Was this core a deliberate plant? His expression darkens as the mystery deepens. Suspecting a shadow player, the mage wonders who's really pulling the strings. Overcome with dread, he calls for his student, fearing the brutal road ahead. Suddenly, his magic phone rings with an urgent update from the front lines. A massive army of fiends is currently blitzing toward the southern city. Meanwhile, the apprentice holds a mana stone, surging with raw, blinding power. His friend asks if it's ready. The phantom stone pulses with an eerie, ancient rhythm. The boy wonders what legendary magic lies within. His blonde partner leans in curious. He's itching to see the stone's true potential, his eyes sparkling with excitement. Wait, don't use it yet, his friend screams. It could be dangerous. Too late. The boy activates the stone, bathing the room in a brilliant blue light. A magic circle flares up. He grins confidently, but his friend is losing his mind. His eyes burn with mana, and then a single soap bubble floats out. He's speechless. As more bubbles appear, his partner starts panicking over the fail. Why are bubbles coming from such a high-level spell? It makes no sense. He grabs a bubble and feels massive mana, but it's just slipping away. The energy is leaking out like sand. He tries to grab it, but it's useless. The master explains that ancient spells are complex and demand elite mastery. Greater power requires greater control. The boy recalls the beast's warning about the difficulty. He's bummed out, but the master reveals a much bigger problem is coming. A demon army is invading the south. They're moving out, and the boy is hyped to help. But the master shuts him down. He's staying behind this time. Why can't I fight? The boy asks. The master senses a dark, lingering threat. Seeing his mentor's worry, the apprentice slowly ascends the tower stairs the next morning. A scout arrives, breath heavy as he delivers the news. The southern squad has finally touched down. Doubt clouds our hero's mind, should he have joined them. But there's no time for what-ifs as he enters the hall and spots a familiar blonde. She's fumbling with her ID again. Spotting him, she calls out his name, triggering that awkward tension he just can't handle. As they exchange awkward pleasantries about life in the magic tower, a bone-chilling screech shatters the silence. Sirens wail. A red alert broadcast echoes through the stone walls. A high-tier monster of a prisoner has broken free. The two stand frozen in disbelief. Just then, a guard scrambles past his face, a mask of pure terror. "Summon the Tower Lord," he screams. The dungeon guards. They didn't stand a chance. They're all gone. Chaos erupts as the man begs for the master's arrival. Turning to the girl, our protagonist offers a quick apology. "Get to safety," he commands. While the crowd surges toward the exit, our young mage dives straight into the danger zone. Clutching his grimoire, he knows the truth. The monster who slaughtered the guards is still lurking within these walls. His eyes burn with a cold resolve. Running isn't an option. He's got a plan, and it starts right now. He creeps toward a heavy door, his senses on high alert. There, a shadow under the frame. Someone is waiting. Without a moment's hesitation, he kicks the door open, ready to face whatever nightmare is hiding inside. He steps in and stops dead. Standing in the center of the room is a man with hair as white as death. The realization hits like a physical blow. It's Malik, the very man his master warned him about. Malik stands there, grimoire in hand, radiating malice. The apprentice prepares for a battle he can't avoid. Malik's gaze turns venomous. "You," he sneers, "the little pest who keeps ruining my masterpieces." He calls the boy a mere pawn in his grand game, but our hero notices something off. Malik's energy is twisted. The villain rants about a perfect world and a mysterious benefactor who granted him this dark, divine right. With madness dancing in his eyes, Malik prepares to unleash a nightmare the boy isn't ready for. I will prove my value to him, he bellows. To reach his peak, he's willing to sacrifice every soul in the kingdom. He holds up a pulsating red core, his voice dripping with ego. Today I ascend beyond humanity. The young mage doesn't wait. He weaves a high-pressure water spell, aiming to drown the villain's ambitions. Malik just smirks, muttering about a 7-star king, before literally swallowing the attack whole. The water isn't gone. It transforms into a swirling vortex of dark energy that erupts from Malik's very pores. Our hero's magic is erased instantly. Malik blasts a massive crater through the tower wall, paving his escape. The shockwave sends the boy crashing back, gasping for air. Through the dust, he watches his target slip away. Weakness washes over him, but he refuses to stay down. He grips his grimoire until his knuckles turn white. Staring through the jagged hole in the stone, he locks onto Malik's silhouette. The hunt is on. Was that really Malik? The thing leaping away looks like a skeletal demon, with eyes glowing like fresh blood. The monster dives from the heights of the tower, disappearing into the unsuspecting city below. Our hero stands at the edge. Not today, he growls. You're not getting away with this. He leaps into the abyss. Meanwhile, a magical broadcast screams, all mages subjugate the demons immediately. Green mana surges through his legs as he sticks the landing. The capital has become a living hellscape. He sprints through the gardens, his mind racing to process the absolute carnage unfolding around him. A green beast lunges at a fellow mage, but our hero is faster. A single strike sends the creature into oblivion. His friend gasps a thank you, but there's no joy, only a burning rage at the devastation Malik has caused. It's a massacre. Demons are flooding the streets, hunting civilians like sheep in a slaughterhouse. No more holding back. He slams a high-grade mana stone into his grimoire, unleashing his full potential. Where did this army come from? He doesn't have the answers, but he has the power to protect these people. A grim smile plays on his lips as pure, raw energy surges through his veins. He's ready. There, in the heart of the town square, the traitor Malik stands tall, waiting for the final showdown. Malik boasts of power that could crush gods, commanding his demonic horde to leave no survivors. A winged terror descends toward a defenseless man and child. Death is seconds away. Suddenly, a massive ring of fire incinerates everything. Our hero stands in the inferno, his eyes blazing with righteous fury. Shielding the innocent from the brink of disaster, he stands tall. He drops a chilling ultimatum, warning the villain not to mistake through the battlefield's haze. The villain's cold stare pierces right through the young apprentice's soul. The kid shouts that the beast's true challenger is him and only him. They lock eyes across the distance, bracing for the final showdown. Suddenly, a spark ignites. The grimoire's azure mana stone erupts in blinding radiance as a jade spell blasts the demon ranks. Twin ogres lunge at him, forcing a desperate defense. With a flash of lightning-fast reflexes, he conjures blazing chains to shackle the beasts. The villain sneers, laughing at the boy's hopeless struggle. The boy fires back that losers shouldn't talk. Enraged, the monster snarls, calling him a worthless brat. He unleashes a fresh wave of demons. The young mage lands a crushing blow, launching an ogre skyward. Reinforcements arrive, spotting the hero, and questioning if this villain is the mastermind. They charge in to assist. They frantically check on the boy. High above the foe weaves a lethal spell of jagged spikes. A mage screams for everyone to brace for the fugitive's strike before shoving the boy aside. No room for rookies in this war, the man barks, clutching his grimoire as he enters the fray. The villain grips the crimson core. Spotting a vital weakness, the boy wastes no time acting. He slams his mana stone into the book. The enemy's spell roars, mocking the small fry before him. The mages unleash their combined might. Their spells collide, triggering a massive, earth-shaking detonation. Amidst the swirling arcane chaos, the boy's magic surges, outshining everything in the blast. With razor-sharp focus, he guides the spell perfectly. The beast takes the full force of the impact. Defenseless, the monster is blinded by a splash of ink-black ichor, leaving him completely dazed. Despite the mage's injuries, the beast remains upright, his face contorted in pure, unadulterated fury. The villain's scarlet eyes burn with hatred. The boy panics, wondering how to kill a monster that heals. He realizes that red core is the key. Narrowing his eyes, he zeroes in on his target. He scans the field. The villain notices ice crystals forming on his shoulder, baffled by their origin. Realizing his mistake, he eyes the fallen jewel. Thorns suddenly lash out, snatching the azure gem. He scoffs, realizing he never needed it. With a sneer, he mocks his own obsession with trash. A single punch shatters the very air like fragile glass. The boy watches in absolute horror. The boy screams as the villain gloats, clutching the jewel and bragging about his effortless victory. Claiming the power was a cakewalk, he lets massive thorny briars engulf his entire body. Raising a hand, he flaunts the pulsating red energy before manifesting a wicked thorn whip. He vows total annihilation. With a twisted grin, he promises to turn them all to ash. Next up, the phantom beasts. He plans to purge every beast from the continent's map. His goal, total kingship. The mages watch in horror, certain that humanity's end has arrived. But the boy grips his monostone, declaring that the fight is far from over. Staring down the villain, he calls him trash. He's about to send this monster straight to hell. With his own bare hands, the villain scoffs, laughing that a weakling like him stands no chance. Touching the azure gem atop his book, the apprentice vows to find the phantom beasts himself. Suddenly, a jagged vine skewers the boy's shoulder. The monster sneers, mocking his bravado. "Thought you were sending me packing," he mocks. Then a tidal wave of raw power explodes. Magic surges through his veins like an untamed storm. The boy's body overflows with chaotic energy. The Grimoire stone blazes with blinding light. This power, it's enough to finally end this. The villain shrieks for him to vanish, but the mage stands firm, ready to unleash hell. Grinning, he fires a shockwave at the beast. Deep in his mind, a spectral wolf awakens. Its mysterious eyes lock onto his. "Ready to help me win this?" the boy asks the spirit. The grimoire glows, white-hot drinking in the atmosphere. Suddenly, he's drifting in a vast cosmic void. Ancient runes circle him as he reaches out, focusing every ounce of will to tame the stone. The gem radiates power. He swears to conquer this strength, no matter the cost or struggle. Wrestling the arcane power into submission, he triggers his grimoire. The magic circle flashes, bleaching the world in a searing white glow. Smirking with total confidence, he channels his newfound strength. A titanic pillar of azure light screams upward, piercing the very sky. Panic grips the plaza as the villain recoils. Shielding his face, he stammers in terror. What is this insane light? Elite sorcerers watch in stunned silence, unable to comprehend. With his eyes burning with a legendary golden hue, he declares his absolute dominance over destiny. Suddenly, a celestial whale of liquid light manifests, crashing through the square with unstoppable force.